Welcome to Entertainly Educational. Appreciate y'all being here. We got a really good guest on tonight. Old buddy of mine back from our playing days. We got Mr. Micahel Felder in the Bleachers. Felder, what's up, Hoss? How you doing?
You tell me, PR. Like, I listen. I'm doing my thing. I'm back home, and I'm just making it work. How about you?
Man, I'm just plugging along, crushing trash, trying to do some fishing and cooking some barbecue. Just North Carolina shit, man. Just the kind
Yeah.
of stuff you figure North Carolinians or Carolinians in general gonna do.
See, that's the thing, and it's so good to just be home and like I'm into it. Like I'm deep. Like I'm every day I walk past. Every day I go for a walk, and I go for like a 2 mile walk every day, and I get to see a small lake, and I get to see. Listen, I'm not out there fishing like you are. I'm not out there fishing like you are, but I am out. I'm still out there on the walk. We got deer in the backyard every day, and actually tomorrow we're putting up a bat house.
Oh, hell yeah. Bat house. So you said you're back home. Where's home? And where were you before you came back home?
So I was born in Fayetteville, moved to New Mexico, which is where my brother was born. Lived in New Mexico for 7 years, which is because my dad was in the military, and then back to Charlotte, and then Charlotte from '92 until 2018.
Mm.
And obviously, we were in school for that, but I still count Charlotte as where I lived, even when we were in school from what 03 to '07 is when I was in school, and you were a year older than me, I think, right?
That
So
was a few years. That was 2000 was freshman.
yeah, so we were. Oh, you came in with Madison and the big balls.
Oh yeah. Madison and Jerry, all them people. Yeah, I was a
Jeb.
2000 guy. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
old. Though I'm old. I'm 40. I turned 41 this year. I'll tell you what, I feel it too.
Dude, what is that? 9-9 judgment time.
Triple O run the show.
Run the show. There it is. Triple O. We run the show. Yeah, I'm in '03,
Uh,
new breed. So
there you
yeah,
go.
with Jesse Holly and all the rest of them. So
Hmm.
yeah, no, I am. But I've been in Charlotte for forever, and then I had to move to Chicago for 4 years, and it's just it's something different. And maybe this is something. And do you remember Jay Spence? Because Jay Spence was there too at UNC with us, and I got to know him really well. And his dad it has the same problem that I have, and his dad has the same problem that my grandparents had, which is like you have to be doing something. And I'm sure you have this same thing where you just like have this affliction of like you're a busybody, right? My
Yeah,
mom calls
country shit.
well, it's country shit, but it's also like my mom calls it. She goes, "You're a busybody." Where you have to be doing something, and Chicago just didn't have anything for me to be doing. And like the difference in truly the difference, Paul, in being in Chicago and like you're just trapped in a house versus, and it's not the weather. This is not the weather. This is just we didn't have enough space for me to be a busybody.
Hmm.
We moved home to Charlotte. I've cut down a tree. I've split wood. I'm going to my mom's house on Sunday to move a door out for bulk pickup and to do this and to do that, and then I'm also bringing home 2 saddles to build my own wood rack. Like that's what I like. I love being busy,
Hmm.
and so it just I work keeps you busy, but house stuff is what I really love. I'm waiting on my tulips to come up, and I'm excited to get my order from Southern Exposure Seed Exchange to get my sunflower seeds and all my peppers and my
Hmm.
tomatoes.
Well, you were able to hone your skills cooking in Chicago, though. I mean, that's about all you had to do.
Yeah.
Following you when you first moved to Chicago, and then a couple years after that, that I was following you. It was the funniest shit. I'm gonna say you sound like you was miserable because you were always just every time you got to do this. Oh, and walking my dog, and people. It was just funny watching the Twitter stories come about of you being in Chicago, but I mean, you cooked almost every
Yeah.
damn day. You had something coming across every day cooking jam up food.
Yeah, I cook every day. I cook every single day. I usually cook all 3 meals every single day.
Mm.
Like if we're going 365 times 3 for my wife, my kid, and myself, I'm cooking probably 99% of those meals.
And what happens when you leave? How's your wife survive?
I make a big it's good that you asked that. I listen, Paul, like I will literally, because there was a time when I was working, this is before I moved to Chicago, but there was a time that I used to travel. I traveled 33 weeks a year for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just put together like meals that she could heat in the oven. And I would do that before I left. That was like a major point that I would do. And then we got to Chicago. And the cool thing about Chicago, and I will say this, and the cool thing about Chicago, the cool thing about New York, it's way easier to get like takeout food.
Mm.
And so she did really like takeout Chinese, like not real Chinese, but like American Chinese food. And so she was like, oh, when you're gone, I'll just get that. And it's harder to get here. It's way harder to get in North Carolina.
Yeah, that's right.
And when your husband is working from 12 until 3 in the morning, covering college football, and he can't cook that day, she's like, they said it won't be here for 2.5 hours. Should we call another place? And I'm like, that's not a me thing. This is a you thing. But yeah, no, I love cooking. And cooking is, I'll say this, I think cooking probably saved my life. When I was, good grief, 2014, I had to do this big project for Bleacher Report, and it really like made me feel crazy. And I was staying up late at night, and then I was eating late at night, and I wasn't cooking, and I was like, it made me feel nuts. And I finally realized that what I have to do is take a step back. And so cooking became my step back. I'm done for the day now. I'm going to cook. I'm stopping at 5. I will spend the next 2 hours making dinner, preparing things, doing things with like intention and purpose, that's my New Year's resolution. It's my New Year's resolution, is to do things with intention and purpose when it comes to my wife and my daughter. I want to make sure make sure they understand that I do care about them, and that I'm doing this for you. I'm not just doing it because I have to. But going backwards to go forwards, I really had to focus in on something to stop me from staying up until 3 in the morning, looking at watching film and figuring out, is Johnny Manziel the best player in the country? No, he's not. But I had to stop. I had to figure out a way to stop it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And with what you do with football, what people hear and see when you're broadcasting is how many hours do you think go into just one broadcast for one game? And you're doing multiple game reviews and previews. I mean, how much time are you putting in for one broadcast? Prep time.
That's the part that I don't think folks realize. So, like, I've called some games. That takes a lot of time because you have to also do the meetings with the team and the whole deal. But even just doing the game reviews, I personally, and I know I'm not normal. I don't feel comfortable doing game reviews if I haven't watched the game live and then watch the game another time, at the minimum. I want to watch the game and then watch the game a second time. And I know I have notes that get me to points that I need to. You want to, okay, here. You want to see something insane?
Show us.
So this is just TCU. Here's the thing: TCU and Georgia, easy. It's a blowout. but this is what it looks like for me. Like, this is just going to the second quarter.
Mm.
This is
And for
just
all those that are listening, he just held up a sheet of paper full of timestamps for
yeah,
1 quarter.
yeah, and that's it. And for games that are closer, like TCU and Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game, there's way more.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to go back and watch it and then watch it again. And you don't get good angles all the time, and everything doesn't work out for you. But yeah, the thing that for me that matters is I want people that have played this sport to respect everything that comes out of my mouth. I don't care about Johnny Riley from New Jersey who loves the Jets but doesn't know anything about football. But I do care. I care about you. I care about
Mm-hmm.
Kareem Taylor. I care about Tommy Richardson. I care about I care about those dudes that we played with, and expanding that. I care about other football players. I care that they're like, yo, this guy knows what he's talking about. And that's what matters the most to me.
And speaking on that, who are you? What is it that you do?
Man, who are
Professional.
you?
What is your professional job?
Man, so we're in a weird spot right now. In theory, like technically, I'm a college football video analyst and also a podcaster. I work for Learfield, I work for Stadium, I work for Bleacher Report. I do a bunch of things. And you can tell me more about this because your kids are older than my kid. My kid's in preschool now. My wife just joined the preschool Facebook group. So I don't know what I'm going to tell people I am. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, the thing with raising kids is as they get older, they talk back to you more.
I don't mind that. That's fine.
And
We had to have a long sit down because the way that she's able to talk to me is different than the way that she can talk at school and the way that she can talk to her mom and her grandma. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you as you get older, things are going to change. Some things going to
Okay,
get
tell
better.
me
Some things are going to
how the
like
parents get.
how the parents get.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's what I'm talking
yeah.
about.
Well, but I don't look. My daughter is 11. She's pretty much an angel, and you ask her to do something, she does it most of the
Sure.
time. There's not a lot of talk back. She's
Yeah.
pretty good, pretty average. My
Good.
son, Can't Look Carter, on the other hand, is a wild ass little human being,
Yep.
half grown, the spit
Heathen.
image of me. I mean, he does shit that I'm like, God damn, I remember acting like that.
Yep.
And he takes you on another level of mental game. Like you got to be mentally prepared for that child to look you in the eyes and just tell you no.
Yeah.
Just no. And what are you going to do about it?
What do you mean no?
I mean, he's something else now. So I was undiagnosed ADHD. He's diagnosed ADHD.
Yeah.
So,
you got a David Wooldridge on your hands.
No, I got a little me. I'm telling you, a little me wild as hell. They ain't, it's just, it's hard. If you ain't never been around a child with ADHD and all your teachers know this, it is a whole different game. They're on a whole different level. They're smart as hell, but they don't, it's a gift, but they don't know how to use that gift yet. And they are master manipulators. They are really good at negotiating. And if you don't have your shit together when it's time to all right, we're not watching TV all day. What are we going to do? The negotiations start. Going to bed. The negotiations start. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. I'm not tired. I got to clean my room up. I mean, all the shit that they should have been doing during the day. No, they ain't doing it.
I got a secret weapon. I got a secret weapon. My wife is my wife was a teacher for 12 years.
Mm.
She been in the shit. You know what I'm saying? She been in there. She knows what she's doing. And then my parents are both teachers. So we're playing zone coverage. We got it covered. But for me, it's more I'm worried about like the parent stuff. Like we just joined this. So my wife we just got into this parent group. And woo, buddy. She's already in.
I don't, man, I don't know from that side of it. Like I'm, I was the backup punter. Well, I'm the backup parent when it comes to the schooling side. I'm the backup. Like if they can't get hold of Sarah, they call me, and then I do what I can do and take notes to prepare Sarah for how to take care of it.
But what about parties? What about parties, dinners, whatever?
Sarah. She schedules. Look, she has all that stuff. I mean, she's got list upon list. She has it all dialed in. She handles it. She takes care of it. And she's gone this weekend. She ain't here.
Yeah. So you got a birthday party?
No, hell no. Thank goodness. No birthday party. We got practices tomorrow. Yeah. And then Sunday's a free day. But
exactly.
I'm the backup.
All I'm thinking I'm like, I'm coming up with lies that I'm gonna tell these people. That's what I'm working on, are lies that I'm gonna tell to these people.
What like give me an example.
You ask me, you like be a dad that works in finance and you ask me a question about what I do or whatever. We're at a birthday party. Come on, bring it to me.
Oh, so Micahel, I'm Jim Bob over here. I work financial services, and what do you do? What do you do for a living?
I'm totally unemployed, and my wife is really the breadwinner. So I'm just trying to make sure Savannah grows up in a good household environment. Or it could be me. Here's my real answer. The real answer that I say is I'm a digital media content creator. Mm-hmm. And I say that, and I don't say anything else. And then if they go, would I have seen anything you've done? I go, absolutely not. It's all corporate.
Look, I understand why you're saying this too, because the first time you start saying I do football analyst for college, they want to know about the recruiting class for their team. They want to know which rookie in the draft to take for their fantasy team. Yep. They want to know who to start this week for the NFL. I mean, I get it. And I get it because you used to talk about that shit all the time. You remember when fantasy football roll around, everybody be hitting you up on Twitter for, hey, man, how about this guy? How about this guy? Like, I don't give a shit about fantasy football.
I just like football.
Yeah.
Like, just go out there and win. I don't care how you do it. Just do it. But right. No, it's going to be my buddy, Stephen Hartzell, a guy I worked with Learfield. He has 2 kids, and he's like, you're going to be in the world. You're going to be in it. And when you're in it, you can't get out. He's like, I'm lucky this weekend. He goes, last weekend, I had to do the birthday party and like take his kid to Chuck E. Cheese. He goes, this weekend, my wife's taking him to Chuck E. Cheese. I'm going to be home by myself. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm getting the axe out and I'm splitting some wood. Like, that's like, yeah, I get it. And I haven't met any parents yet. But man, when you're connected into the Bright Wheel app and their text, you got a party for this kid that's at this. And the worst part is these parents that plan party. Here's what I will say. Don't have a party for a kid at any time that's not before 2 p.m. If you have a party for a kid that's after 2 p.m., it better be a sleepover and it better be a drop off. That's all I'm saying. Am I wrong?
Look, yeah, parties. How old's your daughter?
4.
Yeah, so those 4 o'clock disasters. I mean,
Nightmare.
full of sugar, having all the time of their life, get in the car, get home, and it's over.
It's
The
nightmare.
nightmare
Yeah.
for sure.
You put
Look,
turn that into a pizza party that starts at 6, and you're in charge of my kid and your kid and the rest of those kids. Go for
yeah,
it. I don't care. That's not a me thing.
look, you talked about the app. Wait till your daughter starts playing sports, and you have to get into
Dude,
all the parent stuff.
I
And obviously, us coming from a sports background,
yeah.
that's where you're gonna be like, oh my god, yeah, oh, that's where shit starts getting wild. Now, my
I've
daughter does gymnastics, and they have a group text. I'm not privy to that.
yeah.
It's all the moms, but when we go to gymnastics competitions and shit like that, I mean, I've been wanting to tailgate at some of them, but we can never make it happen because you're there forever.
Dude,
But
so
you wait till you get into the group chats for sports.
I got
It's
two
gonna
things. I got 2 things. One, when I was traveling for work, I stayed in so 2 things happened at this. I stayed in the Galleria in I believe it was Dallas. And there's an American Girl doll store there. So they had an event while we were staying there, but there was also a dance competition there. And so literally I went down to the hotel bar, and there were just like dance parents around. And they're like, my kid doesn't go on for another hour. Can you give me another double? And I was like, oh, I love this. This is fantastic. But the American Girl doll store was like, come on, we have to get your doll. And I was like, this is horrible. And then obviously when I lived in Chicago, we went to the American Girl doll store as well. But my kid was too young to like, she was still a little meatball. She didn't realize what was going on. There's that. And the other thing is, I think that what I've realized early on as a parent is I'm taking a step back. If my kid is interested in getting better, if she's interested in working harder, I will do that with her at home, and we'll go to the batting cages or we'll go to the court or whatever it is. But I don't think I'm going to coach her. My dad coached me, excuse me, but I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to take this as a time to learn about volleyball or softball or lacrosse or tennis or whatever it is. But I'm going to take a step back, and I already know that like and this may sound crazy, but we were in school when Chris Long was at UVA, right? And Howie Long always stood in the concourse because he didn't want to be like on camera and steal the shine from his kid. And I'm no Howie Long, obviously, but I think I'm just going to be a quiet parent that watches from however far away I can see everything. And then if she wants my help, I can help her. But if she's not that interested in it, or she doesn't want my help, I'm going to do that, because I don't want to push her and make her feel the pressure of, like, hey, like, even though I wasn't good, like the pressure of your dad played college football, like, you know what I mean?
I'm right there with you. And my kids are playing sports ages.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter does gymnastics, and that's it. I don't know shit about gymnastics except
right. But you're learning about it.
Kind of. I still don't look. I'll tell you what. I hate going to gymnastics competitions. Every sport I played,
could be worse. She could be a swimmer.
Well, at least with swimming, you
have a time.
You have a time. With gymnastics, it's judges over there subjectively.
Yeah.
Judging.
That's a great point.
I hate it. Every sport I played was a beginning and end. You scored touchdowns, baskets, runs.
Goals.
Yeah, it didn't matter. So gymnastics, I look at Sarah, I go, what the fuck was that? That shit looked good to me. And she's like, oh, she didn't point her toes. I'm like, how in the fuck did they see that and the hands and the back? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, I can't stand that shit. But on Carter, on the other hand, go ahead.
I'm gonna say this. Listen, I dated a swimmer in college. She swam the mile. And let me tell you something, my man. Give me a balance beam, give me a pommel horse, get it done, and I know if you win or lose, versus watching someone swim a mile.
Yeah, it is more exciting. It's a very exciting sport. I do love it. I love watching the college. I love watching the Olympics.
Does she get into watching all that stuff?
Oh yeah, she's sitting in there right now. Well, she better be upstairs going to bed, but she's been sitting in there this afternoon watching the college gymnastics. She's into that's all she does. And then gymnastics is a full-time job. She's 11 and practices 16 and a half hours a week.
Jesus.
And yeah,
that's like swimming, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a job, but I mean, to me, gymnasts are the physical specimens of any athlete. They are the top notch. They can do the most. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, they're the defensive backs of the whole deal.
You got to throw yourself in there and make you feel good about being the DB. Look, the punters had to have the best hands on the team because you had to catch every damn thing they snapped at you. If you dropped it, you fucked.
Okay, that wow. You know what? No one's ever said that to me, and I love it.
I mean, you can't drop a snap on a punt.
And you know what? I've seen a lot of punters drop a lot of things.
Yeah, I never dropped one, luckily, but I did kick an 8-yarder on national television against Clemson at home, so that was wonderful.
No.
Yeah, that was a year before you got there. It was awesome. But on talking about coaching, my son, he plays soccer, basketball, flag football. He's doing all that, and everyone looking for coaches. They're looking for coaches. I said, hell no, because I played 100 miles an hour. It was
same.
That was what I did. I didn't, there wasn't no fooling around and shit. There's no
Paul,
way in hell you could coach. I could coach ever.
I kicked my little brother and my best friend off my high school football team.
As a player.
I was a player. Yeah. My little brother obviously was a year younger than me. And my best friend, he was like, I'm thinking about maybe getting a job. And I was like, then leave. Get out of here. Go. We don't need people like you. And then my little brother, I was like, we're staying after to run Bleachers. And he goes, why are we doing this? We already practiced. And I was like, no, go home. Yeah. You know what? You know what you can do? Take the bus home. You don't need to do this.
I ain't taking your ass home either. Whoa.
And there were, I don't know, 4 weeks that my little brother would just sit in my car and wait for me to get done doing after practice stuff. And then he would do his homework in the car. And then I would get in the car and drive him home. And I was like, you don't need to be on the team. Like, you don't have to play football. And so I'm trying to not give that like psychosis to my kid. And like, which is weird because we're working on like toughness right now. Like with my daughter, she's 4 and we're working on toughness. And a big part of working on toughness is I got to let her hit me, I got to let her hit me and I got to let her jump on me and know that like getting hit is a part of the whole deal. And like, if dad can do it, then you can do it. And so we're working on that, but but like you're 100% spot on. Like I thought that the way that Michael Jordan did things, like there was no LeBron James when we were growing up, LeBron James is a nice man who loves his family and does good things. We didn't have that growing up. We had Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan and then Kobe Bryant after that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, yo, guess what? If you're not cutthroat, you're a loser.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jordan was kicking people off the damn basketball team after his rookie
He punched
season.
John Paxson.
Bulls. I know. Like they had no chill. Yes, the old school mentality. There wasn't all a bunch of great. There's some changes that have been made, but for me to be a part of the coaching side, like I can't do it. I can't. I holler, I scream. Like focus to me. Focus is the most important thing, and you can fuck up. I don't care that you mess up. Yeah, I don't care if you mess up. That's fine, but you better mess up at 100 miles an hour.
Bingo. Make mistakes going fast.
Yeah. And
I'm with
you're
you.
over here farting around, looking out into like
picking dandelions.
Yeah, shit, kicking a hole, digging holes, and that stuff right there drives me damn nuts. I can't do it. It's changed, man. It's changed. The parents have changed. The kids have changed from when we played and grew up. There's a lot more people that think they know shit and they don't know a damn thing.
Right. They watch a YouTube video and then they're like, well, why don't you do it this way? But no, the big thing for me, like I think about this a lot, and I'm sure when my wife listens to this, which it's really wild. And you know what? I'm going to say this. It's really cool to have a wife that like supports you so much that she'll listen to like any podcast appearance that you do.
Mm-hmm.
But she's going to go like, oh, Michael's going to talk about Julian. And so we had a kid named Julian in my fifth grade baseball team. We had a kid named Julian, and Julian sucked. He was terrible, so bad. And my dad was the coach, and he was like trying to get Julian to get going and figure out how to make Julian good and
motivate.
Yes, and then the rules with Little League is everybody has to play every game, and we're in the playoffs, and I'm like, I'm pitching, I'm burning heaters, like I'm killing it, and Julian shows up to the game late, and I was like, fuck, dog. So Julian has to go into the game. I've also ran out of my innings. So I moved from pitcher to first base. Julian goes to right field because he's got to play 2 innings, or he has what do you have to play? 3 innings or 2 at bats, I think is the rule.
And those kids always went to right field.
Went to right field.
Field.
Which is why I'm at first base.
Yeah.
Because so I can help.
Mm-hmm.
And we're up by 1 run. The pitcher gives up a thing. Fred, the pitcher, gives up a run. And then they got a guy on second. And guy hits a bloop to right field, and Julian's not paying attention at all. He's not paying attention. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man? That should have been an easy one. We get out of this inning. We got 2 outs. He's not paying attention. I'm at first base. I take off. I run to right field. I get to the ball before him. I grab it. I pound it in. Ball comes in. I'm going to say it's a close tie. It's a close tag. They call him safe. They win. And I looked at Julian and I said, that's on you. And then hang on. You want to hear something get bad? This is why I know I can't coach. You want to hear something get bad? My dad's the coach of the team.
That's on you, Julian.
I went and sat in the van while he had this is our, you have the end of season, like pizza party ice cream party or whatever. My dad's telling them about where we're going to have it. I was like, fuck this. I'm going to sit in the van. And then Julian's parents came over and apologized.
Oh, shit.
And I go, why did you just stay home? And then my dad gets mad at me because he's like, you don't need to be this mean. And I was like, I can't wait. This is the exact quote. And this is something that comes up in my family all the time. Because my dad, like my wife's, she's tired of hearing about it. My dad loves this story because he's like, oh yeah, Michael's a psycho. But I said, I can't wait till I get to middle school so everyone doesn't have to play. I hate this. So yeah, no, I can't. There's no way. You kidding me? You want to put me in charge? You want to put me in charge of your kid who's more interested in skateboarding than he is in baseball? No, absolutely not. That's a
Can't do it.
bad idea.
Can't do it.
I don't want to
Can't do
be
it.
in charge of him. Can't win.
Yeah.
In the words of Mike Singletary, can't win with a can't win with him.
Well, look at here. Answer me this question. What is the story? What's the journey that has brought you here to where we are today? What does that look like?
What do you want? Professional or personal?
It's that they're intertwined, man. Your professional and your personal journey both are that you go. It's personal until you get to the point that you become a professional. So it's intertwined to me, and you become who you are professionally because of what you did growing up. And obviously, you're a good example of that. Now, this is the example. You were an athlete. You played
Yeah.
football. You played college football. You stayed in the football realm, and now that's what you do professionally. So, what does that journey look like that got you here?
You know what? So you were there when we had Coach Fleming. Fleming was a guy that got me to go to UNC. Him and Gunnar Brewer.
Coach Brewer, yep.
I love Brew. Brew, let me tell you something. Coach Brewer, texts me on my birthday every year. Every year. From a guy that didn't even play his position. He texts me every year. Says happy birthday, texts me on New Year's, texts me on Christmas. Like there's no one that epitomizes football being family more than Coach Brew. Like it means a lot to me.
And he picked some of the best receivers that's played college football too.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Well, I was going to say his son Keaton. You remember when Keaton was like this big running around?
Oh, yes. Like 6'6" now.
He's a grown ass man. So
he is.
But the big thing for me, so here I'll start like going through high school. Actually, you know what? I'll start at the beginning. My parents didn't let me play football until I was in the 5th grade. Because they thought it was dangerous, which come to find out, it is.
A little bit.
And when my football team was the first team that my dad never coached. My dad he was on staff on every other team I played. Basketball, baseball. My dad was on staff. He was not on staff for football. And I got yelled at. My dad was never a yeller. He'll yell at us at the house, but he never yelled when he was coaching like other people's kids. And I came back and I sat in our car and I was crying. And he goes, "What's wrong?" He goes, "They yelled at me because I didn't know what to do." And I was like, "I've never done this before. I don't know what to do." And he goes, "So what are we going to do about it?" And I go, "I guess." And I come from a dictionary family. Like like if you don't know something, go to the dictionary. You go look it up. Dictionary, encyclopedia. Like we had Britannica. Like where you go look it up.
Had to flip through the pages.
We left football practice and went to the library and checked out every book they had on football. And so I learned football that way. And then we showed up, the next week for practice. I knew every play. I knew every rule. I knew all that stuff. I knew everything. I'm telling the coaches where things go. And you saw this with me in practice. Like I know what's happening. And so that's what happened when I was younger. When I got to middle school, I was bigger than everyone. So I played tight end and I played defensive end. And then high school, I was smaller than everyone. And I'll never forget this. In high school, I'm practicing with, the starters, but I'm like, I'm not going to start. I'm a freshman. And then they call our names out and they're like, and they go from right to left. And they go from right to left. So they go right corner, da 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 da. And they go starting at left corner, Micahel Felder. And I was like, what the hell? Me?
Oh shit.
In my first play, I head slapped a guy. I was freaking out.
Hey man, set the tempo. If you're gonna come up in here and I'm gonna guard you, I'm gonna knock the shit out of you, buddy. I hope you're ready.
Yeah. But I head slapped him, and guess what? He didn't come off the line, and we're good to go. But going through high school, I got to the point in high school where I was calling the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like the defensive coordinator would look at me, and he and I would have a conversation about what defense we're going to play. And I started to understand personnel packages and all those things. And then I was like, I'm playing football in college. And then my head coach, my senior year, going into my senior year, my head coach he was doing a big talk about expectations and giving your all. And he said something to me that I think I don't think it was fucked up, but I didn't like it, but it was honest. He goes, take Michael, for instance. And I was like, take me, for instance, for what? He wants to go to UNC. They're never going to offer him. And I was like, well, that's kind of shitty, dude. He's like,
thanks for the pep talk, coach.
But he's like, but he could go to ECU. He could go to Duke. He could go to Wake. He could go to App. He could probably go to Virginia. But he has his mind focused on a thing. So when you focus on a goal, you focus on the goal. And so I visited Wofford, I visited Wake, I visited all these, I visited those schools, and I just didn't want to go there. I wanted to go to UNC. I definitely didn't want to play in the ACC if I wasn't at UNC.
Mm.
I grew up wanting to go to UNC.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the point where I was like, I'm not playing college football. I'm just going to go to UNC, because the other part of it is my parents, again, I mentioned they're teachers. They set me up to make sure I was going to be able to go to UNC no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And two people kept calling me all the time. Teachy from Wofford and Brewer from UNC. And Brewer called me in January. I think that's when we met, when you and I met. When UNC,
you have a different, I can't remember shit. And even up to this point, this podcast, all the stories you tell, you remember everything. That's one thing that's special about you, and probably makes why you're so damn good at your job, because you remember everything.
But you remember UNC and UConn.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last weekend before signing day.
Mm.
It was the big recruiting weekend. I came up with my mom on that weekend because Brewer called me, and Brewer calls me, and Brewer goes, hey man, I went and pulled your file because I wanted to see if we could push you through. And you were already accepted. And I said, okay, good to know. And he goes, we want you to play. We'll get you a scholarship next year, but we want you to play. So I came up. Fleming wanted me to play. Fleming, I fit perfectly in Fleming's defense. Him and Coach Huxtable.
Mm-hmm.
As a guy that could come down in the box as a cover 3 safety and a down in the box safety, I fit good. I fit well. And so my mom, it's me, my mom, Coach Bunning, and Coach Brewer in Bunning's office. Bunning, lays down the law, lets us know. Then we go watch UNC, I believe, play UConn again. They played UConn, and it was like Rashad McCants and Sean May and that whole gang, mm-hmm. who I ended up becoming friends with, Raven Felton. And I was like, I'm coming here. I'm going to play football. And so I did that. I get there. We're bad. We're very bad that year. Mm-hmm. We lost to Duke.
first time in like, I don't know, fucking 11 or 12 or something stupid.
It was
My
really
last
bad.
game ever, we lost to fucking Duke.
We lost to Duke. We were 2-8 or something like that. It was
And we
so
won
bad.
3 games, I think. I think we
2.
ended up
We
winning
won
3.
2.
Was it
We
2?
won 2. We won 2 games that year. 2003, we won 2 games.
Isn't that the
And
year? Isn't that the year we played Miami, Ohio with Ben Roethlisberger? Or was that
no, that
02?
was the year before.
That was 02. Okay.
This is the year we played Wisconsin. And we ended up being so good at kick returning, but it was because we had so many kick returns. Because we just like kept giving, we're 117th on defense, and it was just like, oh yeah, we're good at this. But it was Mike Mason, Jesse Holly, Adarius Bowman, and I remember because I was L3 on Hustle Team or whatever, and I'm just running into Madison Hedgecock and Malik Brown, and I loved it.
Hell yeah.
I love that shit. Like, that shit was good to me. Like, I loved it. It was so fun. My wife thinks I'm a psycho. I guess I am a psycho because of that. But, like, I love doing that. And Tom O'Leary was there, and Justin Phillips, and John Hamlet, and all. Like, we had all the, like, I love that team. Like, we had Kareem and Junebug, and then obviously they fire Hux. They fire Fleming. So we end up with Marvin Sanders. And he and I just did not get along at all. He played a defense I couldn't fit into. And ultimately, and this is the part where I started to really learn more about football, is when they hired him, he let me know I was never going to play. But we also brought in Martell Thatch. And we brought in Thatch. I was showing Thatch, like, I literally would be like holding on to Thatch's hips and like moving him around and then backpedaling out of the picture so that he would be in position to do what he's supposed to do while I tell him what he's supposed to do. And it was just like that was just, and then I also started running the walkthrough, and I learned a lot about football between scout team and learning every defense that we played from Louisville and their kickstart, and learning about the robber coverage that Virginia Tech ran, and all. I learned a lot about football, and then I learned a lot about football from the other side when I was running walkthrough. So, which led me to where I am now. I wouldn't be able to do it without learning all that extra stuff, because I didn't learn it off paper. I learned it from doing it. So that's how I got to where I am. And then from a career standpoint, my little brother says this all the time. He's like, dude, you bet on yourself a lot. And I think that's important. I think folks need to have like that level of inspiration to bet on themselves, because there's a lot of people that take the easy way out. It would have been easy for me to just keep working at True Green. It would have been easy for me to like stay in that box and just like do that. But I like what I do, and then to tie in, you mentioned the personal versus professional. My wife, I'll be honest, my wife needed somebody like me to like push her out of her comfort zone, to push her out of her comfort zone, to push her to be able to like make new friends, to push her into doing things that she wasn't used to doing, to push her out of being safe all the time. Like, yeah, do I take risks? Absolutely. Was my credit score completely jacked the fuck up for a while? Absolutely. Did I decide that for 5 years I won't pay taxes? Yep. But guess what? I figured it out.
Yeah.
I'm in a good spot now. And we have a healthy balance between like my wife like putting a cap on something and me trying to raise the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just it works. So I don't know what's next for me. I'm excited. I know that I've got like, I'm still freelancing and doing a bunch of stuff, but like I'm not worried. Like money, we're not worried about money. It's just I got to have something I got to do every day because
Mm-hmm.
otherwise I'm going to go insane. But that's how I got to here. Like,
Yeah.
my wife is a big part of that because she pushed me to make the choice to go to Chicago. I hated it, but like I loved my job in Chicago. And I hope everyone that works at the stadium understands I loved working there. And I think they do understand that. I had a really good time doing that job. I just don't like Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And then my wife also was like, "Do you want to move home?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then we moved
Hell yeah.
home. And listen, dog, you put me on a rocket and send me back to Charlotte because I am my
And we
buddy
would
from
talk. Yeah, and
yeah,
we talked back and forth with that because you always were talking about moving home, and then it was like a year and a half when you announced you're gonna be
yeah,
moving home and counting down, and so we kept in touch on that. I want to back up
yeah,
one part of this story, and it
yeah.
is very relevant today.
Mm-hmm.
Coach comes in and says, "You ain't gonna play.
Yeah,
You're not getting a scholarship. You ain't gonna play."
yeah.
If the transfer portal was in during that time, would you have left?
No.
It's still just UNC. It was UNC or nothing.
Yeah. If I had left UNC, my grandmother would have been upset.
Mm.
So I come from a family. So my dad was born in Massachusetts. His brother was born in Maine. I think his other brother was born in Maine, or his other brother was born in Germany. I don't know where my aunt was born,
Wow.
but they come from a Air Force family,
Mm.
military family. My grandpa retired to Germany, or excuse me, retired to Fayetteville after living in Germany. They lived in Germany, Colorado Springs, Maine, Massachusetts, and they retired to Fayetteville. And my grandmother had this incredible affinity. The two people that my grandmother really loved, that weren't like her family, were Dean Smith. Three people: Dean Smith, Tim Duncan, and Phil Ford.
Hmm.
Phil Ford came and spoke at our church one time on base.
Nice.
I got a Phil Ford autograph at my mom's house on a church program.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So I grew up a UNC fan, even though none of her kids went to UNC. She had two kids that went to ECU, one that went to Western, and the other one just joined the military.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I grew. I grew up with that. And I grew up, she hated Duke. When we got to go back to both of my grandparents have passed away. We got to go back there and we got to pick up a bunch of stuff from a storage unit. But she, not knitted, cross stitch,
Crocheted. Okay.
cross stitch. She cross stitched. You can't get to heaven in a red canoe because God's favorite color is Carolina blue.
There we go. Go to Hill State.
Yep. And I've got at my mom's house here in Charlotte a bumper sticker that says North Carolinian by birth, because I was born in Fayetteville, Tar Heel by the grace of God.
Mm-hmm.
I was always going to go to UNC. And that's what I was getting at when I was saying, I'm not going to play football. I'll just go to college.
Right.
I was always going to go to UNC. So because even, I don't remember his name. One of the strength coaches tried to get me to transfer at UNC. He tried to get me to transfer to Hampton or Howard, one of them. He tried to get me to transfer to one of the schools up in the DMV. He tried to get me to transfer there because they were looking for safeties. He's like, "You're good. You should just go there." And I was like, "I'm staying here, man.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend's here.
It's home.
This is I can't live that far." Well, I'll be honest with you. When I was looking at colleges, my mom and I took out a compass and we did 2.5 hours around.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all. You don't even know this. My mom first semester of my freshman year, my mom every Sunday came up and visited me. Like I'm not kidding about being a mama's boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like and it wasn't her like doing my laundry. It was her like she would come up, we'd go to lunch and like talk and then after I went through like a big bout with depression after not getting in the game, after the coaching change, my mom talked to me every night, every Sunday night. We would talk from between 8 to 9:30 every Sunday night. And that was just what we did. Like we would just, I'd walk, I'd go to the not the botanical gardens, the garden that's on North Campus before you get to Franklin. I'd go into that garden.
It's by the sociology building.
Yep. I'd go into that garden and my mom and I would talk for about an hour and I would just and by the way, I will say this, Corey Holiday, Coach Tate, those guys saved my life, man. Like they made sure I got into therapy. They made sure I got into sports psych and they made sure that I wouldn't be here without those guys. So I know that I'm not a huge UNC like yacht rah fan, but I can tell you one thing. UNC's done a lot more for me than they're going to do for some kids that maybe get to the NFL. They saved my life.
Yeah, that's amazing, and that shows another side of college athletics, and especially football and basketball. Probably because those are the two most most forward facing. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on that fans never hear, never see. 90% of the shit that comes out in the newspaper of these stories and articles is not true. I mean, I can't remember how many times we'd see an article come out. Somebody was quoted saying something, and people were like, "What the fuck? I didn't say that." We didn't even, I didn't even talk to
we
him.
We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is when you live it and when you see some of the struggles that people go through, and then they're a top tier player and athlete, and they got to go out on the field on Saturday and perform to the expectations of 60, 70, 80,000 people, but they don't know that this kid's struggling at school, he's struggling with girlfriend, he's struggling with family, and then all the support that comes from the teammates and the school and all that's the stuff that people, if you can't put that out there, right? But if people could understand, I mean, shit, in college, you're a kid. You're not grown yet. You are a grown ass man physically, but you are still a kid.
You're a grown ass man physically because you have to be. But like everything else isn't. Like you're still a kid. You're just bigger than other people. Those are two different things. Being bigger, like I think about whether it's Khalif Mitchell, who we brought in, or like I think about like even like Jeb was huge, but it took Jeb a while to get like where he needed to be. This is it takes
Jonas
time.
Seawright. Jonas was like
Jonas
pounds and 6'9".
Puff.
I mean,
Puff.
Huge.
What about Puff?
Yeah, huge human beings, and it's just the mental side.
Have you seen Jonas now?
Oh hell yeah! I saw Jonas this year for
get
the
it
alumni
right.
game. He was
get
here
it right. Get it
Dante.
tight.
I know, man. He looked.
By the way, Dante. Wow.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable.
First of all, for someone who did not want to work out ever, I'll just say I don't feel bad about saying that, because you know what Dante did to me. Dante made me drink all of his shakes. He and I were in the same hard gainers group, and so I had to drink my shake and his shake.
You had to go home and take laxatives every day, probably to take a Duke.
I didn't have to take laxatives; those shakes were enough.
That's crazy.
We're looking at a ripped up dude. Dante is ripped as hell. And he used to slide 2.5 pound weights into his girdle
No, he
to
did.
pretend like he gained weight.
Oh
What?
man, that's funny as hell. That's
Yeah,
funny. But now he looks like damn Mr. Olympia.
I know. I listen.
mean,
I can tell you this though. This is 20 rip 3 for me. I'm getting ripped this year.
are you? All right.
Yeah,
I want to
I'm,
see it.
I'm
I
gonna
want to
get
see it.
ripped. I'm getting
I
ripped this
wasn't
year.
ripped. I wasn't ripped in college. I'll never be ripped, but I would at least like to not be a fat ass. So that's my goal this year is to
You still
drop
fishing though?
about 50 or 60. Hell yeah, Bo. I got this. I got my Hobie, my pedal kayak. And
Have
I'm like,
you have you
go ahead.
seen have you seen Hood Entertainment fishing?
Uh-uh.
Dog, it's on Instagram. It is so good. Hood Fishing _ entertainment, I think is what it is. It's just this guy, black guy, who's doing the same thing you're doing. You guys got to link up.
We'll talk about it afterwards and find it and we'll link up for sure. But I got this pedal kayak. I'm like, sweet, this is gonna be good exercise. I'll lose some weight.
Yeah.
I gained fucking 30 pounds after I got the kayak. And I fish like I did any other sport, 100 miles an hour. Like I'm not probably going to win the fishing tournament, but I am not going to get beat going down the lake pedaling, even if they got a motor. Now, nobody around here has got ones that go 6 mile per hour yet, but I pedal my ass off, man, and I still damn gain weight, fat as hell. But I'm going to lose it this year. I got to. I got to be able to sit closer to my desk without my stomach keeping me away.
See,
Hey, I had another question after your story because I always knew you were good. The X's and O's and stuff. Not everybody can do that. Not even coaches can do that well. Not all coaches. But what led you down to doing the broadcasting versus going into coaching? You came from a coaching family, you coached your teammates through college and high school. What did you ever think about going into coaching, or did you always want to do the broadcast side?
I did a little bit of coaching. I hate kids. So
I feel you there.
We talked about it a little bit with our own kids, right? But like I did a little coaching, I did some volunteer coaching, and I was like, they're not listening. And they're not giving me the effort that I need.
Yep. They don't care.
I'm not doing this. This is a waste of my time. And I'm not at the point, especially when I was first started, I'm not responsible enough to be in charge of somebody else's future.
Yeah.
Like you know what I love? Because when I leave here, you know what I'm gonna go do? I'm gonna go slam some beers.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I might try to hook up with your mom. So this is a bad spot for me to be in. This is not good. This ain't happening.
Oh yeah. See, hey, you got to be honest with yourself, though. You got to be honest with yourself.
I know who I am.
You were.
I know who I am. And then I met my wife, and guess what? I'm still not going to coach because I don't like kids and I don't want to be around them, and they don't listen. And I can't talk. Like, here's the thing. Here's the craziest thing. You don't talk to your kids the way that your parents talk to you. Do you?
What do you mean now? Because I grew up with parents who taught and a mama who was one of the greatest high school and volleyball coaches in South Carolina, and she was the Bob Knight of coaching in South Carolina. So
that's a great point. So you definitely don't talk to your kids the way that she talked to you.
I don't know, man. I'll tell you, I'm pretty tough. And it goes back to why I want coaches, because I expect a lot, and I over expect for my 8-year-old son. And I've gotten better at not over expecting for my daughter because I don't understand gymnastics enough. It's too technical and you got to see. But my son, I over expect, like when we're throwing the football, made huge leaps and bounds. But then he'll get to wondering and start dropping passes. And I'm like, you drop another one, we're done.
Yeah.
Okay. Or,
so
yeah. I can't. I'm tough. I coach.
You're tough.
Or I talk to them how I pretend they're me, right? It's why I should not be coaching. It's why a majority
Yeah,
of people should be coaches, because you don't know how to coach. You trying to relive or whatever the hell it is. I don't
that's
know
a
how to
great point.
articulate it.
And see, I guess the thing for me is I know I'm never gonna get that out of my kid. I'm never gonna
Hmm.
get her to be where I was. Like I was a guy. I didn't get to the Shrine Bowl. I was a Shrine Bowl alternate, and but I was also like, I mean, I started every game in high school from a freshman all the way through.
Mm.
And my kid, I don't think cares about any of that. She's like, she's happy just hanging out.
Yeah.
And her mother is someone who was also kind of happy hanging out.
Hmm.
My my wife is 6'1".
Damn. I didn't know she was that tall.
Yeah, my wife is 6'1".
Holy shit.
My kid's probably going to end up being 6'4". I'm going to be the shortest person in this house. And I'm trying to not make her hate sports.
Yeah, that's why if he asked me to go practice something, we will go practice it. We will go do it. But
If you
I'm
ask
not.
me,
Yes,
I don't want
but
to
I'm
force
not
it.
going out there. That's right. I'm not saying, I'm not going out and say we're doing this and that. When he asked, I said, "What do you want to do?" That's where we're going to practice. And when we get out there after a game or practice, if there was something that he didn't do well, I said, you could be good at this defense, for instance, in
Yep.
football. That's what he could have been good at.
Yeah.
He can't catch, he couldn't throw. He's the smallest one on the field. So I said,
I've
man, you
I've
got to
got the
be,
opposite. I've got the biggest one
yeah.
on the field.
Yeah. Well, he's not. He's a shrimp right now. I hope he grows a little bit, but he's got to deal with his mama who's 4'11". But he would be he he could be good at defense. I was like, look, man, you're getting to the person and then you're stopping and waiting for
Keep
them to
going.
run to you. And this year they do a little sidestep, a little juke, and get around him, where last year they didn't. So we worked on that, and I like to tore my ACL and broke a hip and sprained the ankle and trying to teach him. But yeah, if he wants to do it, I'm not going to push him to do
Yeah.
sports. I was never pushed to do sports, but I also grew up on the gym and in the field
Well,
because that's
yeah.
where I was, and I played every
Right.
sport
But
from
it's
the
also
time
your
that I
parents were
could.
like, you go outside. You're out there. Go,
Mm-hmm.
go get outside. Go do anything.
Yep.
Do
Well, hey,
anything but be around me.
that's right. Go take your ass outside. Be back at dark, and
Yeah.
don't go across this road. Don't go across this road. This is the 2
Bingo.
miles that you have.
Oh my God.
Back.
I was driving I drove my wife to we went to my mom's house, and I was like, so we weren't allowed to go across over here and across over here. And she goes, that's a huge area. And I was like, yeah. And that's just the whole deal. Like that's what we
Uh-huh.
did.
Yep.
I was like, you should have seen my wife's face when I told her I rode a bike off a roof. Are you a psycho? And I was like, yeah, pretty much.
What else? We had nothing else to do. There was no TV. We weren't playing no games. We could not be inside the house. You had to take your ass somewhere else.
Come home for lunch.
That's what to do. That's right. Yeah.
Come home for lunch. Come home, get lunch, get a grilled cheese, get a bologna sandwich, whatever it is, and then get back outside. Oh, you smell terrible. Take a shower, and then you're done for the day. And then you hang out in your Hanes tidy whities in your white t-shirt and watch Nick at Night, and then go to bed.
Mm-hmm. You said that you didn't start playing football until 5th grade because your parents didn't want you to. So funny story about me. I don't think I've told this on Bass and Brews either in all my stories, but I wasn't allowed to play football at all. I wasn't allowed to play any contact sports because on my left arm I've got a bone tumor, and all it is for some reason my arm decided to start growing the third arm, and it didn't. Anyway, it's just a small little bone tumor, still there. It's hard as a rock. It's a bone, extra bone on my body. And the doctors told him that he's not allowed to play contact sports, so pretty much no football. Well, at the high school is where they used to do all the sign-ups and give out pads for Pee Wee football, and all the kids are out there. I'm out there riding my bike. I get over there
Mm-hmm.
doing it, this and that, and you know, out small town where I grew up, so everybody knew me. So you want to play football? I want to play football. I want to play football. And then I knew I couldn't, but they gave me the parent signature
Sign up
sheet or
shit.
whatever.
The sign up
whatever
sheet.
it
Yeah.
was. The here, get your mama to sign this, so if something happens, we're not liable.
Right.
Anyway, I run up. She's at volleyball practice, and again, my son is never ending. Like when he wants something, it is just,
Yeah.
never ending until he gets it, or you just have to walk away. But anyway, I go
Dog
to
with a bone.
practice, and I remember waving this damn thing, following her around. She's mad, trying to coach. Anyway, she signs it, and so I start playing football in the 4th grade. Was never supposed to. Funny part of that too is I broke a bone in basketball. I broke a bone in baseball. I ain't never broke shit in football. Matter of fact, I have never been seriously injured in football, but I've been I was my senior year. I only ended up playing like 3 games because I had a fucked up clavicle. It didn't break, but it might as well have. I did it so 3rd game, we're playing East Clarendon at East Clarendon. We're not very good this year. My football team, most people ever played on my football team in 4 years, is 18 people.
Good God.
Yeah, I was a quarterback.
See, that's remarkable because I never played offense in high school.
Yeah, see, I played everything. The only time that I came out of the game was on kickoff return and field goals. And even though
I did play field goal. I played field goal rush. I played punt, rush. I played defense, and that was it. I didn't play. I never played offense. I was only in offense in 5 plays in high school.
Yeah.
And those 5 plays they're like, hey man, these wide receivers are bitches. Can you come in and hurt this guy? Can you please come in and crack? Can you please come in and crack back on this guy so that we can have a big play? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, here we go. Yep. Tell me who to hit, coach. I got him. Ear hole.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. And that's the thing I loved about football.
Oh yeah, I loved hitting people. I was option quarterback. I mean, I could throw, but I was option quarterback, and when we ran, there was no juking for me. If you were in front of me, I wanted to fucking kill you. And that was my mentality.
Dude,
but
I ran
funny
over.
Thing was, I was the punter, but I can't kick. I couldn't kick. I never knew how to kick. The first year we played Hargrave, Coach Powell's like, Robert, you gonna kick? Coach, I can't. I don't know how, man. I don't know how to. So Coach they had Dan Orner trying to teach me how to learn how to kick. And
Dan Orner, man, yeah.
We'll talk about him in a second. But the what's funny is Warren Green was the long snapper for me when I punted. he kicked. He did kickoffs and field goals that first game. That was the first game after 9/11.
Yeah,
we played Hargrave after 9/11, and he did that. But
yeah, can you just tell people, like, for people that don't know, like, there's like another level. There's this weird level of college football where it's like, it's like you play like junior colleges, but they're not technically junior colleges. It's like Hargrave, Georgia Military Institute. What's the other one?
I can't remember now.
Oh, there's another one that starts with an F.
Yeah, they were the places where the kids didn't have the grades to. Well, not all of them, but typically the really good. So just throwing an example, UNC would recruit a kid that wanted to commit, but didn't have the grades to get in.
We signed like 5 kids from Hargrave that year. My freshman year, we signed like 5 kids from Hargrave.
Yeah, they used to send those kids there to get their grades up, and then they still played football, and then they'd come in as a freshman as like a 19 or 20-year-old. But yeah, that was a good ass time. I forgot where the hell I was going with the story. But the point of the story was I wasn't supposed to play football either, and then here I am.
Yeah,
playing football, doing doing the fun shit. I tell you what, like you talked about grades. I didn't give a shit about grades. I hated fucking school. I wouldn't
Yeah.
go back to college or high school for $1,000,000. I wouldn't go back. Now, if you said to go back to college for football, I wouldn't think twice about it. But the school part, though, after my freshman year, I was on academic probation every year until I was done taking classes full time. My sophomore year, I go to whoever the hell it was in the
Cynthia.
might have been Cynthia or somebody else. I don't know. I said, "What do I need to graduate?" Well, first question, what do I need to stay eligible? You
Yep.
need this, this, and this. So every year, I would go take summer school classes and come back and get eligible. And then at one point, I said, "What do I need to graduate? When I what's the lowest GPA? 2.0. Great. I gave him 2.05.
There you go. I got to college as a sophomore.
Mm. Yeah. See, I went to a school with
So I
500 people, 7 through 12.
yeah,
They weren't no
exactly.
college credit classes coming into
Exactly.
there.
Yeah, I got to college as a sophomore because my parents again were teachers, and I took all AP classes, and I scored high on my AP test and
Mm.
got to school as a sophomore, and then I fucked off pretty hard.
I came in as probably, as a freshman, and I still fucked off really hard. Hey, Greg Wolfter came in, and oh boy, was able to graduate. Like you had to take so many semesters before they would legally let you, or I say legally, for the university to let you
Sure.
graduate. And Wolfter like had to just keep taking classes to play football, but
Yeah.
he was done. He could have graduated, but he
Yeah,
didn't
him
have
and
the.
David Marazzo.
Mhm.
Marazzo was in grad school when I got there.
Yeah, it's crazy some of the opportunities. And again, it goes back to the history of the folks that are on that field playing. You have no idea how those kids grew up
Yep.
usually. I mean, the majority
Yeah.
of people don't.
And that's the
So
thing. And and I'll say this. I think the biggest, and I guess as we wrap up, I think the biggest thing for me, and I got two things, but the amalgamation of people that I got to know because I
oh
was
yeah.
in that locker room,
Mhm.
the amount of dicks I've seen, the amount of, you know what I'm saying? But you know, I'm
But
saying
take the wrestling.
like the reality of it is like I'm naked with a guy who's from Scotland County or a guy
Mhm.
that's from Henry County or a guy that's from whatever. We're naked together every day.
Mhm.
You figure it out. And you guys are, Union County or a guy that's from Emory County. Like you guys are together every day. And I think the biggest thing for me, and I'll never forget, this is my biggest moment. This is the part that I think this is the thing that I think was the most life-changing thing. I think that the football stuff was great. Gerald Sensabaugh transferring in and me learning
Mhm.
from him was amazing. I think that's why I can do the job I do today. But I think the most important thing, the biggest thing that happened for me was realizing that the way that I grew up was so completely different from so many people.
Mhm.
And I come in from a place of privilege. And I want to always acknowledge that because I think so many people have a hard time acknowledging that they come from a place of privilege. And the biggest thing for me is we were in the first defensive back meeting in training camp in 2003. And we went around and went through all of our how did you get here, whatever, which we kind of did. But Coach Flem goes, all right, let's go through how you got here. And we go through and, OC goes through his and Kareem goes through his because Kareem had a rough path to get to
Mhm.
where he was. Because Kareem did he go to Oak Hill, I think, maybe? And then OC was from Eastern North Carolina. And, we're getting there. And then it's me. And I go, oh, I was always going to go to UNC. They asked Coach Brewer asked me to play football. And Flem said, yeah, we want him. And then Michael Waddell, Rabbit goes,
Mhm.
what do you mean? And Rab goes, what'd you get on the SAT? I said 1480. He goes, 1480. God damn. And I was like, what? And he goes, I was trying to get a 700. And it was just like a completely different world, so disparate. And then I was talking to Said Holt, and Said Holt was like, honestly, if I didn't play football, I probably would have never left Anson County.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, that crystallizes, like, yo, football is giving people a chance to do something more. Like, even if it's Rab moving just to Tennessee to play for the Titans,
mm-hmm.
or Said moving to DC to play for what are now the Commanders. Like, he would have never left the county that he lived in if he didn't go to UNC to play football and then move from there. And he got a degree and he got to do that. Same thing with Jacoby Watkins and I know more about those guys because we were all in the same room together. But that was the part for me that I was like, oh, this isn't just about sports. This is like guys getting a chance to do a thing they never would have got to do without this game. And that's the part that, to me, that's the reason I love the sport. That's the reason I'm way more dialed into college than I am into the NFL, because I know that these guys exist everywhere. There's a lot of, even in 2023, there's a lot of first generation college guys. And again, speaking of privilege, my mom and dad went to ECU. My grandma and grandpa both went to college as well. They went to both of them. They went to Fort Valley State. My grandma went to Missouri State. But like, literally, like it's really hard for like a black person to say this, but like, I'm a third generation college guy. There's not a lot of white people that are that. And I'm a third generation college guy. So that's my biggest takeaway, man. I hope that takes us out of here.
Yeah, it does. And that's again, it goes back to what the fans don't understand there's life changes that these kids are making. It's not always going to the NFL and making millions. It's being the first one to ever go to college, more or less graduate.
Right.
And it's a family, 120 people on a football team in college.
Yes, it is.
There's a lot of walks of life, and you get the smorgasbord of people, and you make some good friends on that. Well, look, man, I appreciate you coming on. This is a good time, reliving some old times and getting caught up. You're down in Charlotte. We're going to have to get together at some point,
yes, sir.
Not too far away. If you ever come back to a Carolina game, I think the last one you came to was when Georgia Tech beat us like 85-70.
Yeah, that was bad.
That's been a while ago. That was probably like that
2012.
That would have been the Butch Davis years, but
it's 2012. It's also the same. It's 2012 because it's also the same day that Johnny Manziel beat Alabama.
That's wild. Well, man, I appreciate you. Tell folks where they can find you on the social medias and your website and what you have going on that side.
Make sure you check out itsfelder.substack.com. We do 2 things for premium, 1 thing for free every week, and It's Felder on Instagram, and then obviously In the Bleachers on Twitter.
There we go. Y'all check it out. It's a good time. You're gonna tell about the podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I always forget about that. we got to get you on too.
Right, man. I can talk football, gardening, and shit too now. I'm all down for it.
You better watch out, man, because we love to talk some gardening. Hit D-Pod, Hand in the Dirt. It's a gardening podcast about football, so check it out. You can find it on anywhere you find podcasts. But yeah, Hand in the Dirt. We have a good time. It's me, Stephen Hartzell, and Michael Serber. We have fun, man. It's fun. We recorded one today, and truly, it'll come out next week, but there is a long talk about a chicken massacre. My buddy lost 3 chickens.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I have to listen to that because I love some chickens now, but there's something, they're hard to keep alive sometimes, depending on where you live. Well, look, thanks again for coming on. We didn't get to talk about the food, but check out.
We'll talk food.
Yeah, y'all check it out because you're going to get a healthy dose of X's and O's on football, and then some badass recipes and delicious
Yes.
food that you can cook along with it. It's nothing like you're going to find on the internet with food and football, unless you follow old Felder there. All right, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. We'll holla at you. And until next time, we'll see y'all.